we've got 3 problems we're going to practice using the product rule, and the product rule is here. We basically have 2 parts, our f and g, and in 2 more cases we have these little tag-along guys. Now, we're not going to simplify when we're done. We're just practicing using the product rule. So we're going to take the derivative of the first function, multiply it by the second, then add it to the first function times the derivative of the second function. So this is 3 problems, and we're going to get started. And they made them all complicated, so here we go. So here's our first function that we're going to take the derivative of. And so we take the derivative of this. You might want to write it down because it's going to be hard to write all this down. So the derivative of our first function, the derivative of this right here is just 2 over x by your log rules. And this one is going to be 6x. This one right here is just going to be it's negative 4/9. So when you multiply that, you're going to get negative, multiply the 4 and the 7, negative 28, and 9 and the 6 is 54. And then you subtract 9/9, so that's going to give you negative 13/9. That's that piece. And then we have to do this one, and this is, let's see. This is 3/2. That's a 2 right there. So then we're going to subtract. This is going to be negative 15/2 x. And if you subtract 2/2, that's going to be to the 1/2. Now, that's the derivative of the first function, and you just multiply it by the second function. So you just copy that part down. Then you add it to the derivative of, you just copy this function down, so let's copy him down. I'll put the plus here instead of here. I don't like it there. Alright. Plus 3x squared plus 7 over 6x to the negative 4/9 minus 5x to the 3/2. And now we're going to take the derivative of the second function. So the derivative of the second function is 2x, and that's just 0, so I'm not going to write that down. Derivative of cosine is negative sign, so we're going to change that to plus sign because we already have a negative in front here. So your whole answer is this whole thing. Let me make that a little bigger. Alright? The next one is this one. This also has a tag-along guy, and the derivative of sine is just cosine. So we're going to do the same thing we did the other one. We take the derivative of our first function. And remember, this is base 10. So basically what we're going to get is 2 over ln of 10x. And it doesn't have a base, that means it's a common log. Okay, so that's the derivative of the first part. Now the second part, what I'm going to do is go ahead and put this x up front here. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to erase it. I'm going to put it up here. This is x to the negative 2/3. So when you write that out, that's going to be, this all goes together. This is one whole piece here. So that's going to be, let's see, we're going to get, so this is going to be end up being plus 6x. When you multiply this out, you're going to get negative, it's 14, negative 28 over 18 x to the negative 5/3, and this piece here is going to be, if I move this x up here, this is going to be x to the negative 1, so it's going to be plus 10x to the negative 2, and then you just multiply it by this, which is going to be x squared minus 1. Now I'm going to take the write this whole thing down. So that's going to be, so we're going to add, I'll move it over here, add our first function, which is 2 log of x. I'm going to go ahead and multiply these two, which is going to be minus 14x over 6 to the negative 2/3 minus 10 over x. And I just multiplied those two. That's an x. And then you take the derivative of this piece, which is 2x. Now, take the derivative of sine, and that's going to be plus cosine of x. Okay. The other one's similar, so let's look at it, and we can clean it up a bit. Before we get started, let's go ahead and rewrite this. So this is f of x equals log base 3 of x, and this is going to be 14 over 6. I'm going to put x to the negative 2/3 here. And this piece is going to be minus 10 x to the negative 1. And I think, yeah, that goes there. So I just rewrote that piece. And I don't need to rewrite anything else. So let's go ahead and take the derivative. We take the derivative of the first piece, we're going to get 1 over ln of 3 to the x. The derivative of the second piece is just going to be plus 28 x over 18. I think this was a minus. Let me change that to a minus because it's right. So this will be plus 28x to the negative 5/3, and then this is just going to be plus 10x to the negative 2. So that's the first derivative of that piece. I just rewrote that. Now then you just copy this piece down, which is x squared minus 1 plus e to the x minus sine of x. Alright, then you add this piece, not this piece, this piece. So let me write that piece down, which I'm just going to write it like this. Log base 3 of x minus 14x to the negative 2/3 over 6 minus 10x to the negative 1. Now we take the derivative of the second piece here, and that's just going to be 2x. That piece goes away, so this is plus e to the x, and derivative of sine is just cosine. And for our little tag-along guys here, the derivative of e to the x is just e to the x. That's going to be minus e to the x again, and then plus the derivative of log base 2 of x, which is 1 over ln 2 of x. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.